Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And this is another Stargirl Season 1 episode review. So man, the season's about to wind down with one more episode left to go, but we're here to talk about episode 12, essentially the part 1 to the season finale next week. And yeah, let's get to it because this episode was good. It set up what's going to happen next week. And yeah, so let's get to it. So we start off the episode with essentially 11 hours left till Project New America gets started. Now, Brainwave's going through the whole plan with um, Jordan or Icicle, whatever you want to call him, and essentially he talks about how they're gonna essentially control the minds of people and stuff like that, and it's gonna be so oblivious to the point that the U.S. government won't even see this coming and stuff like that. He also goes on to say that when they're under the control, the American people will fight essentially for the ISA and have the same beliefs as them, even though we later find out how dark this plot really is. Now, Icicle, he's obviously just in tense situation. He's like, look, I ain't gonna feel fine and complete till when Stargirl and her family are dead. Again, I still bring up the fact, like, bro, you do know Stargirl is Courtney, and you do know your son likes her. Why would you? I don't understand it. The funny thing is too, his I guess his parents bring it up as well and stuff like that. If Cameron should know about the secrets, but he's like, no, he can't know. I'm like, of course he would know, because if his dad knows, you're gonna kill the dad's gonna kill the girl he likes. The son's gonna rebel and be like, Dad, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to kill her and stuff like that? So, anyways, Pat and Barbara, they're packing up. Well, it shows a scene of Pat and Courtney packing up. It looks like they're trying to get out of Blue Valley because obviously they know the secret identities and stuff like that. And they don't also want to get caught. Also, in the meantime, while Pat's actually in the garage with Mike, and him and Mike kind of get into spat fest, and Mike obviously upset about not knowing what the hell's going on. He's like, well, fine, if you don't want to tell me anything, then I'm just gonna walk off and stuff like that. Now, Sportsmaster comes out of nowhere. He was just chilling in the garage, and and then he gets into a fight with Pat, and then the same thing with Tigress. Tigress starts attacking Barbara, and then Courtney comes in to save Barbara from Tigress, and then we essentially get a nice little fight back and forth scene between Pat and Sportsmaster and um, Courtney and Stargirl. I mean, Courtney and Tigress, and it's a pretty cool fight. Now, I do like the Tigress versus Courtney fight in the house much more. So, yeah. Now, the conclusion to the Sportsmaster Pat fight, because Pat, I swear, that dude was getting beat up. He was getting beat up. He was getting doors slammed in on him and stuff like that. Now, Mike actually, all overhears this. He stabs Sportsmaster with the, I guess, drill gun right in the back, like literally. My God, I don't know how he's standing after that, but okay. He saves Pat because of it, and then Barbara actually saves Courtney by essentially summoning like a plot on Tigress, and then Courtney kind of finishes off by kicking her out of the house. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry for that interruption, guys. My God, my God. Can I stop getting interruptions, please? Thank you. Jesus. Anyways, like I said, they do that, and essentially, like I said, it cuts back to Icicle with the grandparents, and even the grandparents are like, should we tell freaking Cameron and stuff like this? But Icicle's like, no way, no how. He's not going to know. He's not going to know. Now, we see Principal Bowens talk to his son, her son. Her son's in her office, and her son Isaac, who tells her, like he's getting bullied by these kids in school. And then Principal Bowen brings up the fact like about the dad and everything, and how the dad in a very wow, can I just say disturbing way of how when the dad was bullied, he got, I guess, his violin string or cord that you play the violin with and stuck it through the person's eardrums. And I was like, Oh God, too TMI, too much information. That was disgusting. And then you look at, and then Isaac just looks at his trombone or his instrument or whatever that was in the background, and he has this sinister type of look, like, okay, so he's gonna be a bad guy. So they're already setting up, ISA villains setting up their kids to be bad guys. Now, Pat, Barbara, Courtney, and the other JSA members, they all appear at this. I guess you could say this cabin area. I guess off the grid or something like that. Um, Janitor Justin actually shows up when it looked like, hey, could this be a bad guy? But no, it was Janitor Justin. The striped suit actually shows up there too, and stuff like that. Now, Brainwave actually go cuts to Cindy and talks to her a bit, and he kind of blames her for Henry's death, even though he's the one that killed him. Yeah, like that makes sense. He also goes on to tell Cindy that your dad doesn't love you and care about you. He just sees you as a failure, and the same thing goes for the rest of the ISA members. You're just a failure. So I don't know if this is gonna set up Cindy, maybe being like some kind of anti-hero or something. Like I guess you can say like where she's like bad to Stargirl and all, but she is not on the same level of the ISA where she's cool with them. It seems like they're gonna set up like an anti-hero plot line where she's doing somewhat good things but still bad. I don't know. I still have this thing that I still have this feeling, even though she might still be a bad guy, it would be pretty cool if her and Courtney fixed out these issues they have with each other and she joins the JSA to get revenge on the ISA for, I guess, kicking her out, even though it's not the best plot wise way to join the JSA. Who knows? And stuff like that. Now, Dragon King leads Brainwave to this, very large room with the satellites at. And we've also find out there are 8 hours left in this part of the scene. And essentially, it's Brainwave to do this test to make sure things are running. But this test, as Dragon King mentions, says, well, if it goes haywire and it doesn't work, then your cells and your spinal cord can essentially melt, and resulting in you being blah, 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 dumb or probably dying. Yeah. So when that happens, which was a nice, visually stunning scene, it was a nice scene. The plan actually works, so yeah, that's good. Now we cut back to Yolanda and stuff like that. The goggles talk about brain waves, absorbing Henry's like I guess brain wave functions and stuff like that. She does ask Yolanda about how are you coping with this death and everything, but Yolanda says I'm fine. I just don't want to talk about it and stuff like that. But the goggles of Doctor Midnight clearly shows her emotion is she's clearly lying about it. So she obviously still is struggling and she still can't get over the Henry Jr.'s death. Now Justin tries to help Rick with decoding the book a little bit, but Rick actually, thanks to Pat, making him think of the Mustang, his dad's Mustang, they're able to decode it. Courtney and Mike, they have a nice little talk about, the superhero stuff and how Mike was, I guess you could say showed a little bit of jealousy of the fact that the staff chose Courtney instead of her. Mike tries to see the stuff it will work for him, but it doesn't react to him at all. And then we cut to Tigress and Sportsmaster in the house. Principal Bowen shows up, and Bowen kind of trash talks them, and essentially kind of trash talks the fact like, yo, yeah, your daughter, she ain't gonna be good, because if anything, your daughter's just like a freak of a nature, like your wife, essentially telling that to Sportsmaster. But then Tigress freaking kills her, or it's implied that she's dead. I'm guessing she's dead, but yeah, it's very crazy, very crazy. So you got ISA members offing each other. So yeah. Now, like I said, going back to the house and the cabin, Barbara asked Pat a question like, "Hey, why didn't you tell me about this when we were first together?" And Pat, he goes on to say, "Look, people in the past have died because of it, and I for the first time I wanted to just be focused on on this family, not the superhero thing." And Pat asked Barbara like, "Will this work? Us?" And Barbara kind of gives like a subtle hint that their relationship might not work out in the long term. Now, I think it will. They'll stay together. I definitely think by the end of the season they'll stay together. But she's given a hint like you hid all this from me instead of just telling me from the beginning. That I knew all this. And she feels like this probably ain't gonna work because Jesus, she almost got herself killed in this episode thanks to Tigress. Now, like I said earlier, based on the Mustang, thanks from the help from Pat, Rick and Pat actually decode the code. And essentially, they find out, thanks to the Dr. Midnight glasses, that the code was essentially, showing the underground tunnel system where the JSA, the ISA members, chillaxed and had their entire plan. Essentially, the book decoded the entire plan the ISA were doing and stuff like that. So essentially, they come up with a plan where they'll split into certain teams. Barbara will actually go with Beth to hack. Will try to hack in the machine and try to, maybe able to communicate with everybody, so they can be able to stop Project New America. But the thing is, the one hacker villain, he gets into the hack and he's like, well, it's too bad, you can't stop us now. What are you guys gonna do? In like essentially 30 minutes. You can't beat us in 30 minutes. We also do find a huge revelation that this whole Project America thing, essentially, yes, it's the controlling thing, but at first it looks like, oh, they're doing it for good. Like, your typical type of things that are issues in the world, like, racial injustice, civil rights, and, healthcare and stuff like that. Certain, political things that are issues. But then they find out as Beth digs deeper that essentially, it will affect regular people's brains. But the problem is, eventually when they log off of that, people's brains will shut down, which will just eventually kill them. So, yeah, which means, and we find out that it's gonna affect like over 100 million people in the countries, and it's like, oh, that's not good. So yeah, so then at the last few episodes, just your cliffhanger is, um, Justin, Barbara, and Pat are all, affected by this brainwave thing, and the episode ends off with, obviously Pat being controlled by brainwave. He attacks Courtney, and that's where the episode ends off. So next week will be the season finale of season one for Stargirl, and yeah, it's gonna be a pretty eventful one. It's gonna be the new GSA versus the ISA. Yeah. Now I will say in the next episode preview, they do show Pat, Justin, and Barbara all snapping back into reality. That they have full consciousness of themselves. Now I think that's kind of bad because it's like, well, whatever. I know we all knew they were gonna break out of the control, but it's like, did you really need to see that? If you wanted to be honest and keep the suspense, you didn't. You shouldn't have to show it. But then again, what can I say? You don't have to watch the next episode preview. You just turn your TV off and move on. But yeah, I thought this episode was really good. It sets up next week's season finale, and I can't wait to see how this season's finale is gonna end and what could be expected for season two, in terms of a tease we might get. So other than that, yeah. Next week will be my season finale review of Stargirl. I'll be able to give my thoughts of the entire season as a whole. And yeah, so hopefully Stargirl, it's been really good. It's been really good. One of the best DC TV shows out there to watch, whether it's on the DC, streaming net service or even the CW. I know a lot of people they're concerned that Stargirl's coming to CW. Will there be a drop in certain things? Yes, I guarantee you. But as long as they keep the same storytelling and keep some things here and there, I don't think people will be you know you know I don't think people will be mindful. If they get, I will just say if they can keep that same cinematic feel, because Stargirl does have a cinematic feel to it. They can keep that. I think it'll be really good, as well as if the story is told really good, for season two. But yeah. So like I said, next week I'll give my thoughts on the entire season as well as the episode. And yeah, so if you guys like this video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts and your hype for the season finale of Stargirl. So hit that subscribe button to get more Stargirl content in regards to next week and even season two. So till then, guys, this has been Camp 15. Hopefully you guys are having a great, safe night. I'm gonna get out of here. Peace.